Fox Sports.
We are Black We are South.
Friday night was one for the record books as Craig Kimbrell tossed his way into the top spot among Braves closers in all-time franchise history. Tonight, the focus returns to the mound as Ervin Santana digs in, backed by an offense out for a series win in Arizona. It's Game 2 of our Braves D-back series, and it comes your way next.
It's great to know the Braves bats haven't deserted us as we join you from Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona. Tonight it's Game 2 of our 3-game set with the Diamondbacks. And as always, Braves baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price, every day. Big crowd on a Saturday night filing into Chase Field. It's Game 2 of the set. The Braves and D-backs hooking up for the second time this year. Jason Heyward is rolling. Not surprisingly, so is the Braves offense. Look at Jason's impressive run over the last 3+ weeks for the Braves out of leadoff spot. Hi again, friends. Joe and Chip back with you in the Valley of the Sun. The Braves won 5-2 last night and ended a long, scoreless drought courtesy of Jason Heyward's long ball.
Well, one of the things that is so impressive about what Jason's doing is how he's using the whole field. Last night was certainly an example of that. The Braves had gone so many innings without scoring, and then he steps up and goes the other way with an opposite field home run to break that spell and give the Braves the lead. It's the subject of our Yellowwood bringing the lumber. Nice swing on a pitch. It really didn't even look like a strike. And he went the other way on. And then he drew a tremendous walk. He was behind in the count, 0-2, circled the bases and scored on that double by Andrelton Simmons. That kind of opened up the floodgates a little bit for the Braves. They were able to score again late in the ball game. Thanks to a Jason Heyward add-on RBI, he actually came around to score another run in the 9th inning, too. But when you talk about the Braves' overall offense over the last 18 games, much improved with an average of 4.2 runs versus 2.3. That's going to get it done a whole lot more for the Braves pitchers than what we had seen before.
Julio Teheran was great last night. Ervin Santana hopes to be in Game 2 tonight. He'll be opposed by D-backs left-hander Wade Miley, who's really had all kinds of troubles keeping the ball in the ballpark here at home. It was a record-setting Friday night for Craig Kimbrell and the Braves. And when we come back, Jen Hildreth will talk to the Braves closer about his history-making performance last night.
underway. Hi, everybody. I'm Jen Hildreth at Chase Field, where last night, if you stayed up late, you got a chance to witness a little bit of Braves history. Craig Kimbrell came on, took out one in the 8th, and then knocked them down 1, 2, 3 in the 9th to pick up career save number 155. And that was a big one for him. Making Braves history, as you'll see by our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot. That number 155 means that Craig Kimbrell surpassed John Smoltz' franchise record for saves. And not only is Kimbrell the all-time Braves leader, but since 2011, he leads the majors in saves, relief ERA, and strikeouts. And those 15.1 strikeouts per 9 innings, the most in Major League history. Now, Craig told me he's ready to move on, but he did savor the moment a little bit last night.
I talked to my wife after the game. She was excited. She wished she could have been here, but she's seen quite a few saves, so she wasn't able to make it to this one. But just talking to family and friends, it's always nice to talk to them. It's something that I felt like they put more pressure on themselves about than I even put on myself. But it was nice to talk to them, and a lot of my friends said, "All right, now you got to get a lot more."
Go get a lot more. Who knows? Maybe you'll see number 156 tonight. But first, we'll see what kind of damage Irvin Santana and the Braves can do against Diamondbacks lefty Wade Miley. Chip and Joe will get you set for the game and get you going for the Braves and the Diamondbacks next.
Inside Chase Field in Phoenix, it's game 2 of our series between the Braves and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Let's take a look at Freddie Gonzalez's Toyota starting 9. Jason Heyward, as we showed you, has been sizzling for the last 3 weeks. But what's interesting in the lineup tonight as well is B.J. Upton and Dan Uggla are in the starting lineup. It is only the 4th time that duo has started in a game for the Braves since May 6th. Let's see how they fare against left-hander Wade Miley, who has not enjoyed facing Atlanta, has he?
No, he has not fared too well against the Braves since making his Major League debut in Atlanta a couple of years ago. 0-2 with an 11-plus ERA and a very high opponent's batting average against Atlanta. He is 3-6 on the year with a 4.85 ERA. And his 4 keys to pitching success for the 27-year-old 6-feet, 220-pounder out of Hammond, Louisiana. Number 1, beware. The Braves' right-handed hitters have feasted on left-handed pitching, and his recent troubles have consisted for the sinker-slider pitcher on not being able to get the ball down. He's got to do that to be successful tonight.
So what a challenge for Miley. He's got to face the hottest hitter in Jason Heyward. And the first pitch is grounded to second. That's where Didi Gregorius is starting tonight. He was the shortstop last night. He's now paired with Chris Owings up the middle for the Diamondbacks. And Joe, this might be his final destination as a position player in Arizona.
Yeah, you were talking about that when the series started, Chip, about how he had been playing some second base in Reno in preparation for this. Aaron Hill's had a rough year, and the thought was that to get Gregorius in the lineup, you'd need to play second.
And a good play on the game's first pitch retires Heyward, and now B.J. Upton is back. Proud new papa of a baby girl. So congratulations to B.J. And another test for Gregorius. A one-hop rocket. And 3 pitches earns Miley 2 outs in the top of the first inning.
He works fast too, Miley. So much so that one of his things, one of his little idiosyncrasies is that he does not like to turn his back on the catcher. He'll throw his pitch and more or less backpedal up the mound so as not to do that, and sometimes gets in too big a hurry.
Freeman. Fellas, let's hit it someplace else. 3 outs on 4 pitches. And Didi Gregorius hand-to-hand in all 3 Atlanta at-bats in the first inning. Pitches for Wade Miley. Let's see if Urban Santana has similar success against Kirk Gibson's Toyota starting 9 tonight. We get our first look at Miguel Montero, as Joe speculated last night. This guy's a real good hitter, and he's going to bat behind Paul Goldschmidt. That means Martin Prado hits 5th, and Urban Santana hopes to turn things around in the desert tonight.
Who is that guy? Connor the Dreadlocks. Now he's got some cornrow, but that is Urban Santana. April 3-0, 195. He was as good as there was in baseball. May, not so much. He did get a win in his last start at Miami, but a 5.75 ERA, certainly not what we grew to learn and love about Urban in April. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight, top of the order. He's had trouble with the number 1 and 2 guys in the order. Hopefully he can keep them off the bases tonight and go back to those corners and work both sides of the plate that he did so well in April.
So second baseman Didi Gregorius leads off for Arizona. He led off in a big way yesterday. A leadoff home run in the first inning against Tehran. 1 of 2 runs Julio gave up over his 7 outstanding innings. Chris Johnson in at third. And a swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Here's what I'm talking about with respect to the top of the order. Those 2 spots combined hitting .397 against him with a huge on base percentage.
That's bounced foul at first, and Gregorius will face another 1-2 pitch.
I think it'd only be right if he grounded out to second.
Just to make it fair, right?
Yes.
He leads in that category. Defensively, 3-0. The 1-2. Back where it came from and through for a leadoff hit. Did Irvin get leather on that baseball? Thought I heard a tick on the way by.
I did too, and I really thought that he had kind of trapped it in his body and jersey. And he was mad at himself for not catching it, but that was pretty hot to handle.
Yeah, Didi with a BB to get things started for the Diamondbacks. And here's Gerardo Parra. Arizona has a handful of hot hitters. Some of those numbers inflated by that remarkable series they had against the Rockies that saw them sweep Colorado up at Coors Field. But Parra's hot streak runs beyond the last 4 games. He's hit safely in 11 of the last 13. And a bunt. Chris Johnson will field and fire to first. That'll be a sacrifice for Parra. Gregorius in scoring position for Paul Goldschmidt.
First baseman, number 44, Paul Goldschmidt.
Playing for an early run.
Goldschmidt with 11 homers and 44 driven in. Ripped toward left. But Upton is there with a long running catch.
That ball jumped rather well, didn't it?
Man, man.
Catcher, number 20.
That's one of those we're used to hearing off the bat of Justin Upton. That distinctive, solid, pure sound. But Justin able to rob him of a hit and an RBI.
So 2 outs after the Gregorius hit. And now Miguel Montero hits. This guy is a real durable player. Second in baseball in innings caught. Rare off night for him last night, but hitting fourth against Santana in game 2. And that's foul at the plate.
Well, they're aggressive early in the count, just as the Braves were. This guy had 7 hits in that series in Colorado, including a couple of homers.
Miguel's been an all-star before. He made the all-star team in 2011. Had an 18-homer, 86 RBI season that year and hit .282 for the Diamondbacks. He's been a terrific find for this organization. They signed him out of a tryout camp in Venezuela. Now Montero, 30 years of age, in the middle of a 5-year contract. Try to pick up a 2-out hit and score the game's first run. But he's going to have to do that with 2 strikes. No balls, 2 strikes.
Good life on his fastball. Wasted 1 upstairs. Just a matter of going back in and out, and not so much in the middle. Perhaps no one is more frustrated or impatient than Irvin when it comes to sign problems with Evan Gattis. He's already gone off the back of the mound and went walkabout once already this at bat. And they've just got to figure out a way to simplify it.
Yeah, this has been an ongoing problem,
because it is a horrible problem for Irvin in that he likes to work fast, and when he can't work quickly, it throws him off, and they got to figure out something different.
We saw some evidence, maybe it's not fair to say evidence, but we saw some similar issues last night with Julio Teheran and Evan Gattis, but in your conversations with the Braves, that wasn't Gattis' fault last night.
No, it wasn't. It was Teheran's.
As we've said so many times, one of the oldest sayings in the game, hitting is timing, pitching is destroying timing. The last thing you want to do is destroy your pitcher's timing by taking him out of rhythm.
Yeah, and there's different things you can do. You can tap different pieces of equipment. You start with, or how many times do you hit the equipment before you start giving finger signs? There's something else you can try that would work better for these two guys than just the sequence of hand signals.
Two balls, two strikes. Let's not forget, too, and I'm not making any excuses at all for Evan Gattis. He played 222 minor league games. He caught 42 games last year. Every game he's played this year has been behind the plate. There's not an awful lot of experience for Gattis. But he put the right sign down there as Montero strikes out and Gregorius left stranded at second in the first. And tomorrow only, the Braves are celebrating Craig Kimbrell setting the team record for the most saves. Take advantage with 46% off an outfield seat for the upcoming Phillies and Mets series. Don't miss 46% off in honor of number 46. For more info, visit Braves.com/Kimbrell now.
An extended conversation, animated one between the pitcher and catcher between innings. Hopefully they got it worked out.
So to the second we go. 4 pitches from Miley earned him 3 outs. And Justin Upton's the batter. Upton kills left-handed pitching. As Joe mentioned, several of the right-handed hitters for the Braves have clobbered southpaws this year, and Upton hitting him at a .438 pace.
This guy's given up 14 home runs 11 to right-handed hitters.
Two balls, no strikes. And launched foul over the Braves on deck circle. It's 2-1.
14 home runs. He's allowed her second in the National League. Extra base hits first. Slugging percentage 7th. It's been a tough go his first 13 starts.
A couple of years ago, this man was the toast of the Diamondbacks. Finished second to Bryce Harper in the Rookie of the Year balloting in 2012. 16-game winner that year. Ground ball left side. Owings has it. And his throw to first is scooped up by Goldschmidt. Nice play. And so far, the middle of the Arizona infield defense is perfect. There's out number one as we welcome Evan Gattis to the plate. He's our Home Depot tools from the dugout.
Got a good streak working. How about that? 4 homers, 9 RBIs in such a short period of time, and he too wearing out lefties. Extended his streak with a double last night in the 4th.
1 ball, no strikes. Last year, Wade Miley 10-10, but nearly doubled his walks in the same number of starts. This year, he's 3-6. And he's got Gattis in a 2-1 count here in the second inning.
He's got some things going for him. He is 6th in the league in innings pitched, so he's out there a lot each start. And the 72 strikeouts are 10th in the league.
Gattis rips one to left, and Peralta will play that on a hop. How did he get his hands through that pitch? First hit of the day for the Braves. That gives Gattis a 9-game hitting streak.
Boy, that was a hard slider too.
Third baseman number 23.
Just dropped the barrel on him. Really swinging it well.
One on, one out. Chris Johnson, the batter. And he takes a strike.
He can run his fastball up there around 92, but as you just saw, his sinker was 89. A 2-seamer running it away.
Off-speed pitch. Chris didn't get it.
Good changeup. Chris had a good night last night. Hit the ball hard 3 times. Only had 1 hit to show for it, but went the other way a couple of times.
Swing and a miss. He backed it up. First strikeout for Miley. Boy, he's had the strikeout ball working the last 2 starts. He had an 11 strikeout game 2 starts ago, a 9 strikeout game last time out. The last Arizona left-hander to strike out 9 men or more in 3 straight starts was Randy Johnson.
That's good company.
There's his first tonight. So here's Dan Uggla trying to shake off a bit of rust. Bats have been few and far between.
Tommy Listola's been playing real well, both in the field and at the plate, but it's good to see Dan get some at-bats. You don't use him and you don't play him, you're playing with a 24-man roster, so get him in there, get some at-bats, maybe he'll do some damage.
and you might recall was a former Diamondback. The Marlins got him in the Rule 5 draft, where he turned into an all-star with the Fish. And as you see, just 15 plate appearances in a month. I can't imagine how hard these first couple of at-bats are going to be for Dan Uggla with so little game action.
Got to see it out of his hand, and he did. The first pitch took it, taken all the way.
Two balls, two strikes, 2 outs, second inning. Gaddis with the Braves' first hit. He's the man at first. And popped up into shallow center. Inciarte is there, and he's going to make the grab. And that'll retire the side. No runs, a hit, a man left. Scoreless game in Phoenix. It's just the reflection of all of the LED scoreboards in this beautiful ballpark in downtown Phoenix, and there are signs everywhere. I mean, if they could put a sign on the pitcher's rubber, they'd do it.
Yep.
But still a very comfortable night. 102 degrees outside, 76 degrees inside for the Braves and D-backs tonight. Let's take a look at our Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard with our old pal Martin Prado leading off the Diamondbacks second.
Since May 10th, some different names on there, I would say, among the National Leaguers who are hitting the best since that date. Puig, Lucroy, Martin Prado has been red hot. Pablo Sandoval, and of course Jason Heyward, who's been on a tear. I talked to Martin before the game. He said, "Man, you got hot." And he goes, "Found my swing."
And just in time, it's his bobblehead night tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to be slumping ice cold when your bobblehead day comes up on the schedule. Quick strike from Santana to Prado, and he strokes one into left field. That's the second Arizona leadoff man to reach tonight. And Prado's aboard to start the second inning.
Breaking ball. Stayed with it.
Left fielder, number 6.
Might have been a straight changeup. Just had the middle of the plate. Stayed back enough to use his hands.
Craig Kimbrell achieved some Braves history last night. David Peralta will try to achieve some tonight for the Diamondbacks. He has started his big league career with a 5-game hitting streak. The Diamondbacks rookie record
in that category is 6 straight games. Peralta 8 for 19. And he promptly singles to center on an 0-1 pitch. So 2 on, nobody out. It is a 6-game streak for Peralta, and Santana in immediate second inning trouble.
Shortstop number 16.
Take a look at the location again. That was a breaking ball that didn't do anything and stayed up there between the belt and the letters. His location has really been off.
Now Chris Owings steps in. Kirk Gibson really likes this kid. 283 average, 5 homers, 16 RBIs. And he's riding a hot streak. And he lines one to second. Flip back to Simmons covering second. And just back in time was PRADO. Did PRADO jam his ankle sliding back in safely?
He's grimacing. This was really quick by Dan and for Simmons to get there.
Center fielder number
Almost
5.
got him.
And is Cincinnati.
Boy, Santana fortunate. That pitch was up and down the middle too.
Yep.
So here's Ender Inciarte, the center fielder and 8th place hitter. 2 on, 1 out now for the Diamondbacks. Inciarte 0 for 3 last night. One ball, no strikes. Up the middle. Simmons, awkward play. Deflected to Ugla. Bad throw. It ricochets off the Braves dugout. And a run is in for Arizona. A little pinball wizardry for the Diamondbacks earns them the game's first run. It's 1-0 in the second.
That was weird. First it looked like it might be a line drive double play, and then Andrelton took his eye off the ball too soon, didn't come up with it cleanly. Dan got the out and then threw it away.
So it's a fielder's choice and an error, and now Miley serves one toward left center field, and B.J. Upton is there, and that'll retire the side. Wow, what a weird play. A run on 2 hits, an Atlanta error, and Arizona has struck first. The bottom of the second inning tonight.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. This is the line drive to Ugla, trying to get Martin at second base. That was a different angle, showing him going back in, and now here, I don't know, maybe Andrelton stepped on him, because it didn't look like he really rolled his ankle that much, but in obvious pain, so we'll keep an eye on PRADO.
He's back in there at third base for the Diamondbacks, who lead 1-0 with Andrelton Simmons, Irvin Santana, and Jason Heyward coming up for the Braves. Atlanta got some more help today from the Cubs. They beat Miami 5-2. Jeff Samardzija picked up the win. A couple of homers for Junior Lake today. Washington's in San Diego. That game scoreless in the second. Those clubs began play tonight, a game behind the Braves in the East. Keep an eye on the Mets. They're only 5 games back, but have lost 4 consecutive coming into tonight's play.
Well, again, you can do that in the National League East.
Yep.
Still be in it.
Going outside for Simmons. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's down the right field line past Goldschmidt. Simmons thinking about 2. Parra's got a great arm. His throw close. And it eludes Owings. Now a play at third. No one covers the bag. Andrelton Simmons hustling out of the box, wreaks havoc on the base paths, and he's at third base with nobody out.
One of my favorite plays.
Pitcher number 30.
Hope he's okay.
Irvin Santana.
But just run until they tag you. So that's kind of what he did here. Slices one, broken bat, takes off. He knows he's got to really bust it if he's going to get 2 against Gerardo Parra. And Parra comes up throwing the ball, gets through Owings. And with Prado moving over toward the outfield grass to back up that throw, there's nobody at third. Maybe Wade Miley should have hustled over there.
It's a double, an error, and now the infield in for Santana with nobody out. Ground ball, Gregorius. Another nice play. Infield in, cut off the chance to score for Irvin Santana. 1 out, and now Jason Heyward hits.
Second basemen have been rather busy.
Jason Heyward.
Well, it is game 2.
Okay.
Jason swung at the first pitch he saw tonight, and ground ball to Gregorius.
They're going to stay in. Third inning.
How'd you like to be Paul Goldschmidt right about now with the way Jason's swinging the bat?
Or Martin Prado, for that matter, the way he's been going the other way.
One ball, no strikes. Little contact would be nice from Heyward here with 1 out.
Well, after the swing and miss on the slider, and then he comes back with another fastball in, and you've got to figure he's going to go back to that slider at some point. And until he gets 2 strikes, I think Jason can look for it.
A bouncer, foul at first.
Goldschmidt's a big guy, much like Freddie, but he's bigger than Freddie size-wise. He's about the same height. But like Freddie, he's got good hands.
big pitch from Miley here in the Atlanta third. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And a ground ball. Prado's coming home. His throw's high and safe. Simmons got in under the tag. A high throw saved Simmons, and Kirk Gibson is going to come out and ask for an explanation.
Mark Wegner, the home plate umpire. Martin had to go to his left, throw a little off balance. Throw was high. So was the tag. He's safe. Good call. Gibson waiting on word from his dugout. Good break by Andrelton. And no appeal from the Diamondbacks. Tie game.
At the plate, center field, B.J. Upton.
Andrelton was already appealing to Mark Wegner that he got tagged high. Good job on the base running.
Hayward made just enough contact to bring home the tying run. 1-1 game for B.J. Upton. Let's see if Atlanta tries to do some running with Miley on the mound. He almost picked off his first baseman. Goldschmidt was breaking to make his move defensively.
Nice look here with our phantom camera. Foot on the plate ahead of the tag.
Popped up in foul ground. Goldschmidt will have room on the warning track, and B.J. Upton's retired for the second out.
First baseman,
Freddie Freeman was retired on a sinking line drive in the first inning. Got to get him going. He has not been Freddie Freeman-like for an extended stretch. To the right side again. Gregorius from the outfield grass. And Freeman's 0 for 2 tonight. The Braves, though, tie the game. Simmons' hustle got him to third. Hayward's ground ball to third brought him home.
Having an impact on this game early. Andrelton Simmons, who just scored to tie it up for the Braves, and Didi Gregorius. These two, believe it or not, played together when they were youngsters. Said their team was the team to beat, and they didn't lose very often. They still are pretty close, though, as Andrelton said, baseball keeps us pretty busy.
You're right about that, Jen. That Curacao team featured some amazing talent. You might recall Andrelton Simmons was a pitcher as a youngster.
Didi Gregorius played shortstop when Simmons pitched, and Kenley Jansen, who's now the closer for the Dodgers, was the catcher. How'd they ever lose? As Gregorius takes a sinker for a strike, it's 0-2.
And as Anderson likes to point out, when he wasn't pitching, he played shortstop, and Didi went to second. And Didi says yes, but he was older.
What, about 5 minutes or something?
Probably.
He's going to get a look at second base. They have Aaron Hill, who's had some major injury problems for the Diamondbacks and has not swung the bat the way they anticipated he would. If Gregorius can hold down second, if Owings can play shortstop every day, maybe Aaron Hill would be an attractive trade piece at the deadline for the Diamondbacks. 1-2 count. And a fastball evens it up. 1, 2, and 3 on the lineup card for Arizona. As a shot towards second is smothered by Ugla from the knees. His throw to first is late. Dan's second error in as many innings.
All these line drives it to second base, and Dan gets one that's in between hop. Knocked it down, but drops at his feet, he's able to recover.
Team high 9 errors for Ugla now. And Gerardo Parra's the batter. He bunted in the first inning. Let's see if Kirk Gibson employs a similar strategy here in the third. There's a strike. Arizona's got some work to do. They're 15 games out of first in the National League West. Maybe the most disappointing part of what's been a tremendously disappointing season is how poorly they've played at home. The Diamondbacks have won 9 and lost 23. And there are some who still believe that opening their season in Australia did have a hangover effect for this team. Play 2 regular season games, come home, go back to spring training for a week, and then you start the North American part of your schedule. They just have never gotten in sync. Parra chased as he's prone to do. No balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, we've had this discussion before, but with a week to go in spring training, to play 16 hours, play 2 games, play 16 hours back, continue your spring training. Boy, is that disruptive.
Yeah. To the count. You can make the case too. Maybe it's affected the Dodgers as well. Let's not forget, many of these so-called experts had LA running away with the West. Big payroll, big names. LA's 8.5 games out of first place. They have not won more nor lost more than 3 games in a row all year long. And the team that has benefited the most is the Giants. Started play tonight, 19 games above 500. The ball danced inside, and Parra took it. 1-2 your count.
Boy, this Diamondbacks team, Chip, I was just adding up a bunch of guys really left-handed heavy, and not just among so-called platoon type players. Right now, they're everyday guys. You look up and down their lineup with Parra, Montero, Gregorius, Inciarte, Peralta.
Well, 2 big bats missing, Trumbo and Pollock. That would certainly help that balance.
Yeah, sure would.
Pollock out with a broken hand. Trumbo starting to swing the bat as he comes back from a stress fracture in his foot. I would guess the bigger question for Arizona: pitching, 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 and then pitching again. Their starters have been rocked. Their ERA at 4.52 in 2014. Tough to outscore that nightly. Runner goes. He spun his wheels, and no throw for Gaddis. Ball in the dirt. And Gregorius in scoring position with a straight steal.
His first since he got called up. And you're right. That first crossover step, he lost his footing a little bit.
It's all full count pitch for Parra. And it's bounced to the right side. An effective at bat for Gerardo. He gets Gregorius to third with the first out of the inning. And now Goldschmidt bats after lining out to left in the Arizona first.
He went after the first pitch last night against Simmons. Went after the first pitch tonight against Santana. Be alive to that.
He was fooled on that pitch, strike one.
But he was ready to unload. Chased a bad ball.
Well, he does what you want your number 3 hitter to do: drive in runs. And Santana wants to slow the pace. Nice stop. Even count. Goldschmidt, 6'3", 245 pounds, out of Wilmington, Delaware. Signed through 2018. 36 homers, 125 RBIs last year, and he hit .302.
What a year.
And to your point about Goldschmidt with the glove, 5 errors in 160 games.
Yeah, and he's not a statue over there. He's got pretty good range.
Back to the mound. Santana looks the runner back, and Goldschmidt with a rare failure to drive home that runner from third with less than 2 outs. Big second out pitch earned by Santana there. That'll bring up Montero.
Catcher, Miguel Montero.
Good job of pitching there by Irvin. Got ahead in the count and went back to a breaking ball. It looked like, got him to swing at that.
That's outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Now it's even. It's been a long time since Santana has pitched in this ballpark. 2006 to be exact. Excellent work in his career against the Diamondbacks. Perfect 2-0 in 3 games, a 1.20 ERA. 1 run across for them so far tonight. And we're tied at 1. And a shot to short. Simmons smothers that. And his throw to first is in time. Excellent pitching by Santana to keep this game tied.
As we head to the 4th inning, Justin Upton will start our Delta Airlines on deck trio. Hey, Joe, you remember the Phillies and Mets, don't you?
I've heard of them.
We haven't played them in so long. We want to make sure they're still in the National League East. We're going to be seeing them soon. And tonight and tomorrow only, the Braves are celebrating. Craig Kimbrell setting the team record for saves. And you can save 46% off an outfield seat for an upcoming Phillies and Mets series. Get it 46% off for number 46. Find out more at Braves.com/Kimbrell.
That's a good break. Coors Light cold hard facts. Braves against left-handed pitchers. The Major League ranks. This is what we were talking about. Beware for Miley. 4th in average, 1st in 3 other categories. And they have next to the last plate appearances. In terms of the fewest, they need a few more with those kind of numbers.
First pitch swing, the ball driven to right off the bat of Justin Upton. Gerardo Parra is there. 1 pitch, 1 out. That's how the first inning began for the Arizona lefty.
I need to slow this down a little bit. I mean, Irvin had to work hard last inning after the leadoff man reached on an error. Give him a break.
Through 19 pitches in that inning. Now Gaddis bats. Evan has one of the 2 Braves hits that extended his batting streak to 9 consecutive games with a hit. And a bold foul past Doug DeCenzo at 3rd. No balls and a strike. Braves have made outs on the first pitch 5 times already in the game. So you're right. Make this man work a bit.
Well, he hacked it the first one too, hit it hard. But the point is, the point I was trying to make is Santana could use just a little bit of a breather. This helps.
So does that. 3 balls and a strike. Mention the new hairdo for Irvin Santana. As Chris Johnson waits on deck. Same story for Wade Miley. As that ball's hammered deep center. Inciarte back, and it is going to bounce high off the top of the fence. Right at the 407 mark. Gaddis hits a ringing double for his 2nd hit of the game.
That drew some oohs and ahs from this crowd. Crushed. And it hit above the padding but not above the yellow line.
At the plate, third baseman, Chris Johnson.
Here you go. It's got to hit above that yellow line to be a home run. Still hit it about 420.
Did you hear how loud that clank was?
Yeah.
So a two-hit night for Evan Gattis. As you saw, 6 two-base hits for Evan this year. And Chris Johnson will try to chase him home. Chris struck out in the second inning for the Braves. Guessing Irvin Santana's hoping his new hairdo is going to bring him some different luck. Miley's new hairdo for a totally different reason. After his April 12th start against the Dodgers, he shaved his head for a childhood friend, Johnny Santangelo, who had a malignant brain tumor removed at a hospital here in Phoenix. Santangelo was a draft pick of the Kansas City Royals back in 2004. No balls, 2 strikes. And a ground ball to second. Gregorius is going to gobble that up. Gattis to third, but 2 out. So now Miley versus Ugla. Dan has popped out tonight. We mentioned Dan tonight making his 4th start in the last 28 Braves games.
Chance for him to atone for the throwing error in the second inning that allowed the first and only run to score for the Diamondbacks. I don't care how long you've been playing. I don't care who you are or how good you are. The speed of the game, if you haven't been out there in a while, the speed of the game gets you. And then, of course, we always have that saying, the game will find you too. The ball finds you. So he hasn't been out there much at all in the last month. And he's had balls hit at him constantly tonight.
And that's why I said earlier, someone who never played at this level, I can't imagine how difficult this assignment is for Dan Ugla, and difficult for Freddie Gonzalez too. If he's on your roster, you got to use him.
Yeah, need to use him.
1-2 pitch. Nice stop. Montero evens the count.
Martin Prado playing very deep at third base for Dan Ugla. That should allow Gattis a good walking lead in case the ball does bounce away from Montero.
And a swing and a miss. That's the second strikeout for Miley. Gattis left stranded at third base. Our game still tied 1 apiece. In every game with America's pregame only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Tune into America's pregame weeknights at 6 Eastern only on Fox Sports 1. To find Fox Sports 1 on your cable/satellite provider, go to foxsports1.com. Glad you're with us on this Saturday night from Phoenix. Joe Simpson, Jen Hildreth, Chip Carey, the rest of our great Fox Sports crew. A lot of Braves fans here in the Valley of the Sun hoping Atlanta can make it 2 straight over the Diamondbacks tonight. Martin Prado singled and scored the lone Arizona run. A high throw from Prado, though, allowed Simmons to score the game-tying run for Atlanta in the 3rd. I didn't see one of the Prado bobbleheads, so I don't know how good a likeness it is of Martin.
I know it's got eye black.
Yeah.
And I think it's pouring dirt on his own head, but I'm not sure other than that.
He's way ahead in the count here. 3 balls and a strike. And a base hit for Prado, who's 2 for 2. Big turnaround first. And a good start for the Diamondbacks in their half of the 4th inning.
Left fielder, David Peralta.
Fourth straight leadoff batter to reach for the Diamondbacks.
And that'll bring up David Peralta. 6-game streak for him. Alex Cabrera is the man whose record he tied with that 2nd inning base hit. Starts his major league career on a hot streak. That's nice. 450 mark.
I mean, he and Tommy La Stella have really burst on the scene.
Off the heel of Gaddis's glove. Fortunately, no advance by Prado. 2 balls, no strikes.
That's one of those that's hard to read from Martin's angle. He may not have even seen the ball get away from Gaddis and then couldn't tell how far away it was.
Back to the mound. Santana to second for 1. And Simmons turns the double play.
One of the nice things for the pitchers on comebackers in this situation is just get it to second base in the air somewhere and then let Martin take care of the rest. Just don't throw it in the dirt and don't throw it over his head.
You know, we obsess in our game with the highlight shows, guys that hit the home runs, the big strikeouts, you know, guys celebrating the home runs, all that stuff. These last 2 games, we've seen some real subtle beauty, in my opinion, in the game of baseball. I'd pay money to watch Andrelton Simmons turn the double play every night, and I'd pay money to watch Jason Heyward run the bases.
Yeah.
Owings with a fly ball to center that B.J. Upton will gather in, and he's got it, and it's an easy inning for Santana. Leadoff hit, but a double play and a flyout sends this game to the 5th.
Martin Prado bobblehead. This is my little buddy. I've been carrying it around for most of the day now. I broke his bat. Apparently that didn't have any effect on the real Martin since he's 2 for 2. But everybody seems to think it's a pretty good likeness. Jason Hayward said he thought it was the best bobblehead he's seen. Apparently he's just missing a little pine tar on the shoulder. That's been the biggest complaint.
But yeah, it's got the helmet. Looks like it's got the pine tar. You were right. The eye black for Martin.
That's a good pickup by Jason, though, with the pine tar. You won't be able to see it tonight because he's wearing a black jersey, but he's typically got a lot of pine tar that rubs off on his jersey from his bat.
So on we go to the 5th inning. Simmons, Santana, and Hayward coming up versus Wade Miley, whose last 5 games at home, 0-4 with an ERA approaching 7. He's been crafty tonight. He's allowed a run on 3 hits. Braves had a great chance in the 4th inning with a 1-out double for Evan Gattis, but neither Johnson nor Ugla could bring him home. So let's see if Simmons can start a 5th inning rally. And a fly ball towards center. Inciarte is going to catch that. And Simmons is retired. He's 1 for 2. And Santana will bat with 1 out.
Last night we talked about Brandon McCarthy. Now he hadn't allowed a run in the first 3 innings in his last 6 starts. For Wade Miley, he's just fine through the first time through the order, and then it turns a little sour for him. Braves are just completing their 2nd time through the order here.
Santana grounded out back in the 3rd inning, so he's 0 for 1. And now ahead 2 balls, no strikes. Now 2-2. San Diego's jumped in front of Washington tonight. That's 2-0 in the 5th. And Santana's down on strikes. 3 strikeouts for Miley in the game. Quickly 2 outs. The Marlins already lost to the Cubs today.
Right fielder
Atlanta with a 1-game lead over Washington. Now a 1.5 games over Miami, pending the outcome of our game tonight. Our next stop will be Colorado to play the Rockies. They had a long losing streak of 8 games in today. They walked off against the Dodgers. And Chris Perez, that was a 5-4 final.
Out of the way, Jason. Had his hand up trying to get some time because this guy works so fast, so he just stepped out on him to try and slow him down.
Little roller out toward Gregorius. He has a quick release and a very accurate, strong arm, as you'd expect. And the Braves are retired in order in the top of the 5th.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Atlanta Braves and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Atlanta Braves.
fifth inning. Braves, Irvin Santana, and the Diamondbacks, Wade Miley, locked in a tie game. Trivia time. Our AT&T U-verse trivia question is, since 2012, Goldschmidt and Freeman ranked first and third in RBIs among current National League players. Who's second? Who's second since the start of the 2012 season? Slotted between Goldschmidt of Arizona and Freeman of the Braves.
Jay Bruce.
Troy Tulowitzki comes to mind, but he's hurt. Or has been hurt. For Colorado, that's where we head next. Carlos Gonzalez.
Matt Holliday.
Matt Holliday. By the way, we won't see Cargo in Denver. That bad finger that was plaguing him in Atlanta finally sent him to the disabled list. So one less Rockies offensive hitter to worry about at Coors Field. A roller foul passed first by Ender Inciarte. 1-2 the count.
Venezuela's a big country, but it's not just one area where the ball players come from. They have good baseball east to west in that place.
Up the middle, and Inciarte, another leadoff man aboard for the Diamondbacks. They've put the leadoff man on each of the first 5 innings tonight.
Pitcher, Wade Miley.
Let's see if Miley can lay down a bunt. He's got 2 sacrifices this year.
He handles the bat pretty well.
He got it down, and the Braves will take the out at first. Good sacrifice. Couple of sacrifices for Arizona tonight. Puts Inciarte at second, and Didi Gregorius the batter. He's reached twice, once on a hit, once on an error by Uglo. So in a tight game, Santana's got a buckle down here with the 1-2 hitters due next for the Diamondbacks. They are 0 for 7 so far tonight with runners in scoring position. And here's how Irvin has done with men aboard this year.
Always seems like always the good pitchers, the guys with the winning records, are the ones that are at their best when they've got runners in scoring position. And tonight he's had a bunch of them.
Gattos to his right, knocked that down. 2 balls, no strikes.
Go again. Runner at second. Good hook. Well, that's a good 2-0 pitch.
Now it's 2-1. That stayed high. So what will Santana and Gattis do now? With Parra on deck and a go-ahead run at second with 1 out.
Well, I know Gregorius has gotten off to a good start, but I got to make him put it in play.
Didn't. 1 out walk. That's the first walk of the game for Irvin. But the double play in order. The Braves have turned one of those already tonight. And here's Gerardo Parra.
Mentioned last night about Parra that he struck out more than anyone on their team with the exception of Goldschmidt. Tonight we've already seen him chase a bad ball. Maybe they can get it done again and get ahead in the count early.
Foul to the left, strike one for Parra.
Stop by Evan.
He's been busy this inning. Inciarte led off the frame with a single. Miley sacrificed him to second. Gregorius walked.
Well, you know who's looming on deck. He's not going to hit too many comebackers to the mound with a runner at third and less than 2 outs. So you need to make a good pitch to Parra. Hope he hits it at somebody.
All of a sudden, everything's too low and out of the strike zone. Dangerous pitch now. 3 balls and a strike. Good speed aboard for the Diamondbacks.
And be ready, Freddie Freeman. 3-1 count. Way Parra swings, good chance he's going to look for something he can turn on.
High fly to center. BJ going back, shy of the track, now at the edge of the track. There's the catch. And Inciarte tags and moves to third base, but that's the second out of the inning. You can survive with fly balls to that part of the ballpark.
Yes, you can. Anywhere between those 413 lines.
But that's still within range of Paul Goldschmidt. The longest homer in the month of May. A 470-foot blast high on the left side of the scoreboard. Low. To give you an idea of where that is, maybe we can get a shot right up there where it says season stats on Goldschmidt. That's about where that ball hit.
What?
That's what that.
No, it didn't.
So what it's, that's what I thought. I saw the ball hit up there.
What?
It said 470. Yeah. One ball, no strikes.
I may have to take another look at that if that's what you're telling me.
I thought that's where I saw it
because
hit.
if they'll show that scoreboard again, here's where I thought it hit. Couldn't tell from that replay.
Two balls, no strikes. Way high.
If he can hit one up there, then he doesn't belong in this league. Here's the ball coming down over in here, and
I lost it in the lights.
But then it actually hit like in that upper part. Oh, you lost it in the lights.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 balls, no strikes. You know who did hit one up there, though, was Mark McGwire at batting practice back in the day. Broke a light or two in the scoreboard here.
I believe that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That'd have to be about 670 feet if you hit it up by his season offensive line. And no way was Santana going to give Goldschmidt much to hit. He walks him. He had a base open and happened to be second. But now he's got him loaded for Montero, who's 0 for 2 tonight. Montero struck out and grounded out.
1 for 5 with the bases loaded this year.
Eighteen pitches, only 6 strikes for Santana in the inning. He's got 2 outs because Arizona gave him 1. That was a sacrifice. Now they've got him loaded in a tie game. Montero, the hitter.
Talked last night about how Tehran had to work hard each inning. Didn't have too many easy innings. There was nothing compared to this. And we're in a 1-1 tie.
That's a fair ball, and Freeman's going to catch it and take it to the bag.
Great job again, Houdini.
And Montero slams his helmet. A little magic for Santana indeed. He gets out of a bases loaded mess, and the game's still tied. One more time here tomorrow, then in Atlanta over the 4th of July holiday. You can get your tickets for the Braves Diamondbacks series July 4, 5, and 6. We'll have the best fireworks show in the Southeast this 4th of July, as we always do. We hope you'll come out and see the Braves face the Diamondbacks at Turner Field by logging on to Braves.com/tickets today.
That's always a great fireworks display.
It's time for you to tweet your photo using #SouthFanPhoto. Your chance to have it shown in an upcoming broadcast is coming up later. That's brought to you by AT&T. You heard the attendance in the background, just over 29,000 for Game 2 of the series. And B.J. Upton, Freddie Freeman, and Justin Upton start the 6th inning.
Jay said mother and daughter are both doing fine last night. Daughter's name is Mila.
One-two pitch. And off the plate. 2-2. Braves have left 6 on. Arizona stranded 6. And Upton's down swinging. That's 4 strikeouts for Miley.
Unlike the Diamondbacks, the Braves have only gotten their leadoff man on base once, and that was Simmons when he was just running till they tried to tag him. Made it all the way to third base on a leadoff double in the third and scored on a close play at the plate with the infield drawn in.
Freddie's hit the ball at the second baseman twice tonight. He's 0 for 2 and 1 for 7 so far in the series.
Freddie's had a tough go of it by Freddie Freeman standards the last 35 games. 248 average. 15 RBIs compared to 17 in 24 games prior to that.
In the air to left. And Peralta's going to catch that. And Freeman's retired. He's 0 for 3. Quickly 2 outs.
And here's what I'm seeing a lot of. Teams that we've been talking about how they pitch him inside, and then here's a breaking ball away after they've set him up inside, and he's reaching, and he's not hitting, he's not squaring anything up. Everything sounds like it's off the brand or off the end of the bat, and that's unusual for him.
Yeah, when you see a hitter as talented as Freddie Freeman with 15 RBIs in a month, that's not like him. And what's especially glaring is that with the good work of Jason Heyward and frankly B.J. Upton, he's had plenty of runners on base in front of him. It just isn't clicking for him right now. 1 ball, no strikes for Justin. He's 0 for 2. And that's going to be changed with an opposite field single to right. So Upton's aboard with a 2-out hit. And Evan Gattis, the batter. They haven't solved him yet.
Tried to go away from him and looked it the other way. Blooped one that way last night. But with his speed, if he were running on the pitch, he might score on a long single. Parra's got a good arm. Inciarte in center's got a good arm. Don't know about Peralta in left.
Gattis didn't get it. No balls and a strike. Very light workload for Miley with the exception of the second inning. Two balls and a strike. It's the inside corner.
That was a good take. Threw him a couple of fastballs that were really running down and away, down and away. Breaking ball in. Tried to go to a back foot strike on the PNC pitch tracks, and he didn't offer.
Line drive left center field. That's headed for the fence. Upton around second on his way to third. He's going to get waved. Relay throw. Gregorius won't have a throw. Gattis with a 3-hit night. His second double scores Upton from first, and the Braves have scored the go-ahead run.
Another breaking ball, basically the same place, except it was just up a little bit. And that's what's been hurting Miley, is that he's not been able to get the ball down where he wants it. Their outfield was playing deep, but there's no way they can cut off that rocket. And with 2 outs, Justin Upton able to take off with the crack of the bat and score the go-ahead run.
Gaddis 3 for 3. That's his 28th RBI. And the Braves enjoy a 2-1 advantage with Chris Johnson standing in. The rally started with a soft hit to right by Justin Upton, and Gaddis to left center. And now Chris at even count. Fly ball, shallow right. Parra's going to catch it though, and that'll retire the side. Big night for Evan Gaddis. A 2-out double scores Justin Upton. The Braves lead by a run. Phoenix, all season long, Braves baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price, every day. June 14th is the Braves Wives Mystery Brown Bag Fundraiser, where the Braves take on the Angels. Buy a mystery baseball signed by a current Braves player for $40 and help raise money to benefit Alabama tornado relief efforts. Visit braves.com/tickets today.
That's always a lot of fun. I think fans like that. They know they're going to get a ball signed by a player and or coach and or retired player. You never know. That's the mystery of it. That's why they call it a mystery, Joe. Just don't know.
So Martin Prado gets things started in the Arizona 6th. He's 2 for 2.
He's been somewhat of a mystery, as has every leadoff guy in the game for them.
There you go. They're 5 for 5, putting the leadoff man on. Great chance for Arizona last inning. They loaded the bases but could not break through. Ball 2 for Prado. Peralta and Owings to follow for Kirk Gibson's Diamondbacks. And there's the end of the leadoff man streak. Prado lines out to Freddie Freeman. There's out number 1.
Left fielder, David Peralta.
And here's Peralta. And there's a strike. You know, we haven't had a chance to talk at all about maybe the biggest news for the Diamondbacks this year, and that was as Peralta bounces one up the middle that Simmons gloves and can't make a play on the grass in center field. Infield hit for Peralta, his second of the game. But Arizona hired Tony La Russa, former White Sox, A's, and Cardinals manager. He's overseeing the entire baseball operation, and I think everyone's fascinated to wonder how this new regime is going to work here in Phoenix.
Kevin Towers is the general manager. I'm sure he might have some questions about that too.
And Kevin has said, look, I don't want to be a rubber stamp general manager, and he's been a successful one on his own for a long time in the big leagues. And Tony La Russa has really made no secret of the fact that once his managing and playing days were done, the next challenge for him was to run an organization. He still misses the competition, still misses the camaraderie of the clubhouse. And now he's in charge in Arizona. And the interesting thing I thought was made during his introductory press conference was the fact that Arizona has always been in kind of a win now mode. They have done an excellent job of drafting and developing and getting guys to the big leagues, but in their haste to try to win in the West, a lot of those #1 picks are playing and in some cases starring somewhere other than Phoenix. As that one's fouled at third by Chris Owings, a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, some of those deals haven't worked out quite so well.
And here's some of the notable picks that were brought to the big leagues by Arizona in the last 6 years. You think Scherzer and Parker would be welcome in Arizona?
Yeah, I think they'd be nice complements to their rotation.
That's outside.
And all of those, I think the lowest in the first round was Drew, the 15th pick.
Arizona last year had an 81 and 81 year. A lot of folks thought they were going to make a big step forward this year. It has not happened, especially at home. They've won just 9 games all year. Tony La Russa, by the way, not in Phoenix, we understand. Certainly not at the ballpark. He's off evaluating their farm system with the draft just completed for Arizona. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And inevitably that Tony La Russa takes over. Questions abound about the future of Kirk Gibson and his staff.
Anytime you bring in somebody to oversee the baseball operations, whether it's the general manager or whatever the title is that Tony has, the general manager, but especially the manager, is sort of on notice.
Little pop, Freeman gets there, makes a nice play, and the throw back to first covered by Santana. And good base running by Peralta to get back on a pop out by Chris Owings. 2 down.
The reason I say that, just that from a Tony La Russa standpoint, he's not the manager you hired. He may not be the manager you want. So just back to life in baseball. If you get inherited, there may be a change in store.
And I say this with tongue firmly planted in cheek as Ender Inciarte bats and pops it up. Gibson might have a strike against him already. Remember the famous home run he hit in the World Series against Tony La Russa and Dennis Eckersley? Let's hope it doesn't come to that. 2-1 Atlanta. Santana pitching a beauty through 6 in Phoenix. All-Star game features the Mets and these Arizona Diamondbacks, and it'll be the D-backs in town July 4th, 5th, and 6th. Get your tickets now. We'll have a great fireworks show as always on Friday night. It's a 7:35 start time, so make your plans now. It's sure to sell out. Get those 4th of July tickets at Braves.com.
Did I already say that it's a great fireworks display?
You did.
Yeah.
But you can't
I did say that.
But you can't say it enough.
Okay. It seems like I just said it just like 2 minutes ago, but maybe not.
Here's Dan Uggla, and he couldn't stop his swing. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Hey, sorry to hear that Kennesaw State got beat tonight.
Did they?
Yeah, Louisville beat them 7-4 to knock them out. Louisville's going on to the College World Series. Congratulations to them. Well, what a year for Mike Sansing and the Kennesaw State Owls to get to the Super Regionals. What a year for them. I'm sure everybody in their associated with their program and their school are proud of their effort. They are definitely on the map for the state of Georgia, and a large collection of Georgia players on their roster, high school players that are on their roster.
Simmons on deck with Dan Uggla leading off for the Braves. It's a full count. Foul at the plate. Bad news in San Diego. Washington has taken the lead. 3-2 in the 7th.
They're playing good baseball. They've won 4 in a row. Slowly but surely getting their guys back.
Bouncing ball foul. And the count remains full.
Well, there is some guy down below us that's been on Dan all night.
Fly ball to right. That's pretty well hit. Parra on the run at the track is going to grab it. And there's out number 1 in the 7th inning. So there's the first out. Here's Simmons. Anderton scored the first Braves run in the 3rd inning. He doubled. Beat a throw to second base. The Parra throw got away from Owings. Simmons took 3rd on the error and scored on Jason Hayward's fielder's choice. It was a little tapper to Martin PRADO, who had to move to his left, and his throw to the plate was high, and Simmons slid right between the legs of Montero and was called safe, and rightly so, on a high tag by the Arizona catcher.
Every time I see a right fielder go over toward right center on a fly ball like that, I think of that wipeout Jason Hayward and Nate McLeod in this ballpark.
Balls, no strikes for Simmons. Santana waits on deck. Single runs for the Braves in the 3rd and the 6th. Atlanta with 5 hits tonight. And Edmonton took one over the corner.
PNC pitch tracks caught the outside corner. Finally really flies open with that front shoulder.
And a base hit to right for Simmons.
Especially when he's trying to go to the outside corner.
So Hamilton has 2 hits, and Santana will be the batter. Other baseball news today: the long wait for Kendry Morales is apparently over.
Yeah, surprising team though.
Minnesota.
Yeah. They're in last place in the Central Division and only 5 games out behind Detroit, who's in first place. So maybe they're thinking just, you know, 1 more player. I know they've had some injury problems too. That Dozier kid, boy, he's having a good year.
Yeah,
good looking player.
And Joe Mauer's not. That's the
right. Yeah,
very surprising thing is he's the first baseman. Morales will be the designated hitter for Baumgarten Hires Club. He's got that prorated $10 million deal. So he'll be joining the Twins. And Santana awaits the first pitch.
I don't know the rule, but I'm wondering if it's not such a coincidence that he signed the day after the draft ended, where there's no draft choice attached to him.
Probably. Pretty good chance. And you know the Twins, with their small market status, even with that beautiful new ballpark, they have to guard their draft picks, their draft slot money, probably as tightly as anybody. Speaking of the draft, some notable names were drafted, some players' sons. You mentioned a couple before the game tonight. Charlie Lebrand's son was drafted.
Yeah, by the Phillies. Congratulations to him.
No balls and a strike. And Santana didn't get that one either. It's 0-2.
Braves drafted Lenny Dykstra's son. And also I was told before the game that they drafted Paul Bird's son, who was headed and is headed for LSU unless the Braves sign him. So congratulations to the Bird family.
And Irvin is down on strikes. And that's the second out. The Yankees drafted Mariano Rivera Jr. Believe it or not, he was out of Iona College. He was the 872nd pick of the draft. And Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football.
Johnny Baseball.
Yeah, drafted as a shortstop in the 28th round by the Padres. He was the 837th pick in the draft.
Did he even play baseball?
He wanted to try to walk on to the team at Texas A&M, but concentrated on football. Now Simmons broke early, and he's going to be tagged out at second base. So Simmons picked off with the Braves' hottest hitter in the batter's box, and Atlanta runs themselves out of the 7th inning, but the Braves lead by a run. Two on Atlanta. We are at the 7th inning stretch in Phoenix, Arizona tonight. And fans, here's your chance to travel like a VIP to Turner Field aboard the Fox Sports Fan Express. Book your Braves group tickets for 30 fans or more, and your group can have complimentary use of the Fan Express to travel to and from Turner Field. Ticket packages are available at Braves.com/Fan Express.
That is a wonderful thing for people just who don't want to drive. They don't want to have to worry about parking. Just get on the bus, go to the game, get on the bus, and go home. It's a great thing for a group of people.
Eric Chavez will bat for Miley, who went 7 innings of 6-hit ball tonight for the D-backs. 93 pitches in his 7 frames so far tonight. 0-1 to Chavez. And he golfs one down the right field line, but it's pulled foul.
He can certainly do that, and he can keep it fair. Saw him a lot in the AL West. That's 4 strikeouts, 33 at bats and 4 strikeouts. Is that what that said? That's pretty good for Chavez against this guy.
Chris Johnson had him played perfectly. He hardly had to move.
This field is very hard and very fast. That ball came off the grass, and Chris had to really be quick to get his glove down there.
Second baseman.
Because it really does shoot through there, as we saw like on Evan Gaddis's line drive to left center. That was Evan on that play, and you know, he looked like he slid into second base kind of awkwardly too on the pickoff.
Yeah, Anderton, you might recall, had some trouble with an ankle back in Atlanta. Spun his wheels a bit, reacting to that play at third. He had a great shot of certified athletic trainer Jeff Porter taping his ankle at Turner Field.
Looks like it's bothering him again.
Didi Gregorius, the batter, and he takes too high. Joe Thatcher's up in the Arizona bullpen. Braves bullpen is busy as well. Santana hasn't been able to solve Gregorius yet. He's reached all 3 times. A hit, an error, and a walk. He's been stranded twice at second base and once at third base. And back to the screen, out of play.
He hasn't had his 94, 95 fastball much tonight. I think he had it a time or 2 in the first inning. That last pitch at 92.
To first, Freeman gives ground, and Santana to the bag. 2 outs. First time Gregorius has been kept off the bases tonight. That's always a good thing. And here's Parra. Parra is 0 for 2. Baseball is a very, very funny game. Arizona exploded, what, 40 runs in 3 games against the Rockies. They've come home to face the Braves, and at this point they've scored 3 times in the first 15+ innings.
Let's see, why is that?
And this is a good hitter's park. Yeah, right. We joke about it all the time. Getaway day in Phoenix when you're headed to Colorado. It's always interesting to see the mixed emotions of your ball club. The hitters can't wait.
First one's on the bus,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Pitchers, not so much.
Pitchers are like, I've lost my shirt. I don't know where it is. Can't find it.
And the challenge is big difference between a 3-game and a 4-game series in Colorado. There's a bouncing ball out towards second, and to his right, plants and fires, and he got his man. 3 out, 3 down for Santana. We head to the 8th. Braves look for some insurance. Got our Subway in-game box score. Big night for Evan Gattis. Andrelton Simmons also with a couple of hits. Those two have combined to go 5 for 6. But boy, a scare for Atlanta on the base paths. And speaking of Andrelton Simmons,
watch his ankle. Oh, thank goodness that toe came out. Where it was stuck in the dirt and came loose. Otherwise, all of his weight and momentum are going to roll over the top of his ankle. That could have been so ugly. And it was bad enough as it was. Oh, not Thatcher.
Feast your eyes on Oliver Perez. It was Thatcher warming up, but it's going to be Oliver Perez who comes out. And Perez, remember, with the Pirates, with the Mets, went to Seattle, moved to the bullpen, and I think really saved his career by pitching in relief with Seattle. Now he's done good work for the Diamondbacks. This is his 28th game.
The fear about putting him in the bullpen was always that he couldn't throw enough strikes. He'd come into situations with runners on base and the potential to walk the ballpark. But so far this year, you saw the 8 walks in 23 innings. That's actually a pretty low number for him.
So Jason Heyward is the batter. He was the man in the box when Simmons was picked off. That was the awkward slide we showed you a moment ago. Perez has always had a good arm, low to mid-90s fastball, and that went in at 92 for a called strike.
Yeah, and a good hook too. And conveniently wild.
.61 appearances with the Mariners last year for Perez, a .374 earned run average. When he signed a 2-year contract with the Diamondbacks in early March, he became the 9th Mexican-born player in the history of this franchise. And a high fly ball center, but Inciarte is going to gather that in. And there's out number 1.
Well, another part about Perez is he's always he's trying to be razzle-dazzle on every other pitch. Now on this one he does a big body turn, drops down, so it can never be just repeat your mechanics and have good stuff. It's always seemed to have, it has to have some flair.
So he gets Jason to fly out. Now B.J. Upton bats. And another shot toward the Arizona outfield. Peralta reaches up on the warning track and makes the play.
I thought that one might get out of here. Just didn't quite have the carry to it.
Base is empty now for Freddie Freeman. In there for a strike. Shea Simmons is up in the Braves bullpen. He may come on for Goldschmidt.
I don't get it. He got ahead of Freddie and then he had to go crazy.
Joe, he's left-handed.
Boy, he's always had a good arm too.
In the air to right. That's going to get down in front of Parra. Maybe that'll get Freeman going. A hit against a tough left-hander, and it comes with 2 outs in the 8th.
Well, with all that flair and all that pizzazz, he's given up 3 rockets this inning. Fastball up and out over the plate. Good swing by Freddie there. I guess that's enough pizzazz for Kirk Gibson.
You know he loves that.
Yeah, wasn't his favorite things.
Yeah. So Brad Ziegler is going to come on. Oliver. Wow.
Fans meet back at Chase Field 2 weeks from tonight.
some people who are very happy about that. They have a lot of support here for Freddie Freeman. He is from Orange County, California. I'm with his grandmother, and I had to talk to you because you told me you were busy before the game with Freddie, right? Played a little catch?
Oh, yeah, I was playing catch on the field with him.
And how'd you do?
I think I did pretty well for almost 80.
I'd say so. He says he feels like he gets a little extra pep when family's here. Do you guys feel like you can bring him some good luck?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, he likes to see us.
Well, he's got off to a good start now. Got a hit. We'll see what else he can do. Guys, back up to you.
She's 80 years old. Come on.
And she has an outstanding split finger pitch. I was watching.
So here's Justin Upton to face Brad Ziegler, the Arizona relief pitcher. This guy is a ground ball inducing machine. Boy, and is that ever important pitching in this division and in this ballpark.
Well, compare him to Steve Cishek, the closer for the Marlins. Cishek is really sidearm to almost three-quarter, even though it looks like he's about to come submarine. This guy's definitely down there. I mean, this is really hearkening back to an old teammate, more Dan Quisenberry like. Keep to Colby like.
No balls, 2 strikes. That's got to be tough for a hitter too. You're not trained to look for the ball out of a pitcher's hand knee high.
No, and they get such good movement, good sinking action when it comes out of their hand from down there, and he's got a good slider that you just saw to go with it.
I mean, it's odd that you say that a man who throws the way he does can sink the ball. It's almost like he's throwing it uphill. Let's see what he has in mind with the 2-2 count. Freeman at first, 2-1 Atlanta late. And the slider gets Upton to swing and miss. No runs, a hit, a man left. Heart of the order up for the D-backs in the 8th. Is done. He fired 7 innings of 6-hit ball, and into the fray will come Shea Simmons, who's pitching in his 5th big league game tonight.
How many of you have seen a picture of Shea Simmons with his hat off? We've got one. How about this? Our director Gary Lehman has started calling Simmons Iceman from Top Gun. I think it's a great call. I asked Shea before we came on this road trip, I said, have you heard about the Iceman? He just grinned. I said, you good with the Iceman? He goes, yeah, that's good.
Not too shabby. And joking with Shea before the game, he's got to be exhausted after his outing last night. I mean,
same guy too.
Yeah, one pitch took care of Paul Goldschmidt, who hit a bullet to end the inning. For the Diamondbacks, or the end the outing, I should say, for Simmons. And that was a really odd inning because we're all scratching our heads after Alex Wood came in. He faced two guys, walked Gerardo Parra, then Simmons came on to get Goldschmidt, then Kimbrel came on to face Martin PRADO. And talking with Freddie Gonzalez about the way he managed the pitching staff in that inning, the key at bat was the Parra walk from Alex Wood. It was the lefty-lefty matchup. His plan was let Wood get the first two, have Kimbrel come on to face Goldschmidt, and then have Craig come on and pitch the ninth inning. Wanted Craig to get some work, as you mentioned, only a handful of outings for Kimbrel over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, like 2 prior to that one.
But the base on balls meant Simmons had to come in because he didn't want Kimbrel to face 5 hitters and maybe rack up 35 or 40 pitches.
Yeah, he didn't want 5 outs. 4 outs was okay.
It all worked out in the end as the Braves won 5-2. Simmons trying to protect a 2-1 lead in the 8th with Goldschmidt. And he missed low. Full count. Luis Avilan is up in the Braves bullpen, with Miguel Montero waiting on deck.
Dangerous spot here.
Line past Freeman. So Goldschmidt aboard for the second time tonight. That's his first hit.
I don't know if it would have made any difference because that ball was hit so hard, but it didn't seem like Freddie was playing very deep there for Goldschmidt. No, probably deeper than I anticipated when my mind's eye when I saw the ball hit that way.
That one got away from Gaddis, and Goldschmidt in at second base. He represents the tying run.
Turned the ball over, and Evan tried to backhand it. That's asking for trouble.
So that scored a wild pitch.
Well, it should have been, but it also should have had a better attempt at blocking it too.
1 ball, no strikes for Montero. To third, Chris Johnson right at the bag, makes the throw to first for out number 1. Montero can't advance Goldschmidt.
He's had a tough night. Remember, he grounded out to Freeman with the bases loaded earlier tonight.
He struck out with Gregorius at second in the first inning. That ended the inning. Bounced out to short with Gregorius at third in the third. The bases loaded in the fifth, and now Goldschmidt at second. So you're right. He's had a ton of opportunities.
And that's the only strikeout of the game for the Diamondbacks. And what a job by Santana, who gave up 6 hits and 2 walks and only 1 run in trouble. It seemed like all night long, and only 1 strikeout, able to pitch out of it.
Martin PRADO's the hitter. He's had a good night. 2 singles. He scored a run, and he hit a line drive that Freddie Freeman caught last time up. The danger here, obviously, with PRADO is his ability to hit the ball to all fields. Goldschmidt leads at second with 1 out. Fly ball right. Hayward on the run near the line. He makes the catch. No advance.
One of the nice elements of surprise that Shea Simmons has is that for a guy who doesn't seem physically intimidating, he can throw the ball by you. And I know the scouting reports are getting around on him, but until you get in the box, I don't know that you anticipate the ball coming out of his hand the way it does with what looks like very little effort. Montero got jammed badly. Even Goldschmidt was late on the pitch that he rifled to right field, and PRADO late there too.
Two hits and a double play for Peralta tonight. This has got to be a frustrating night in this respect for Arizona. 6 times in their first 8 innings at the plate they've put the leadoff man on, and they've scored only 1 run. And they're a strike away from being 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position in the game.
Peralta got a piece of that, but I think he almost took it right out of Evan Gaddis's glove. Nailed Mark Wegner, the umpire, too. Got everybody. Young player. Just up, not many at bats, ahead in the count, tying run on. He's antsy, wants to drive him in. Don't have to throw him a strike.
He didn't.
But he did offer.
One ball, 2 strikes. Slow roller out towards second, and Simmons is out of the 8th inning. The Braves hold their lead. It's 2-1. We head to the 9th. Photo of the game. Tweet your photo to #SouthFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. That's brought to you by AT&T.
Big Braves fans there. Thank you, Lindy.
Braves have a chance for a 5-game win streak on the road if they can hang on to the lead tonight. That was last done last August by the Braves.
Yeah, that's a welcome sign.
And Gaddis bounces the first pitch up the middle. Owings at short makes a nice play. That ends his perfect night. Gaddis, though, a big game. A single, 2 doubles, including the go-ahead RBI in the 6th. So he's now 3 for 4.
Owings reminds me of someone that's not a shortstop, wasn't a shortstop, but played a bunch of different positions. When he comes to the plate next inning, see what you think. And I'll give you that guy, that trivia question when he comes up.
All right. Here's Chris. He's 0 for 3. And a ground ball to Gregorius. He's been awfully impressive at second base for the Diamondbacks. Very busy, handled all 3 chances in the opening inning tonight. He looks smooth. So here's Dan Uggla, and one more game to follow in Phoenix. We join you tomorrow afternoon. Braves live at 3:30 Eastern time. Aaron Harang will get the ball for the Braves, and we'll get our first look. The youngster's off to a great start for the Diamondbacks. It's Anderson.
Chase Anderson, yeah.
He's 4-0 for the D-backs. First D-back to win his first 4 big league starts in franchise history. Craig Kimbrel's up in the Atlanta bullpen as Uggla bats and is down to his final strike. It's a 1-2 count. That's off the plate at 2-2. Full count. Arizona's bullpen's missing a big member down there. That's J.J. Putz. He's coming back from a forearm problem. He's pitched in a couple of rehab assignments. As that ball now bounced off the plate, Owings charged and fired to first. Boy, they've been very aggressive and active up the middle. Have these young Diamondbacks shortstop Owings and Gregorius at second. Kimbrel to save it. Bottom of the 9th in Phoenix. Trying to close out the D-backs. We've got to close out our trivia question brought to you by AT&T Uverse. Who's the man that sits between Freeman and Goldschmidt on the RBI list since the start of the 2012 season?
I want to say Jay Bruce, but I'm going to say McCutchen.
McCutchen, MVP last year. I'm going to go with a Colorado Rocky, and I'm going to say it's Carlos Gonzalez because we're going to Colorado next. Oh.
You say Gonzalez, didn't you?
Yeah, that's a half credit, isn't it? Unfortunately, it's not. Adrian Gonzalez, who's having a great year and a great moment last night. Brought to you by SunTrust, our shining moment. Craig Kimbrel, all by himself atop the saves leaderboard in Braves franchise history.
And no one was going to catch that ball except Andrelton Simmons. Get out of my way.
So Kimbrel will get after Owings, Inciarte, and then we'll see. So you mentioned Owings. at the plate.
Doesn't hold the bat the same, but there's a little bit of Craig Biggio in that guy.
Who also liked to swing at the first pitch, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Owings with a line out. Good start to the 9th inning. 1 away. If you're compared to Craig Biggio in anything, that is, I would assume, the highest compliment. Loved watching that guy play.
Ought to be in the Hall of Fame. Should have gotten voted. Should have gotten him into the Hall of Fame last year. His first year of eligibility.
Here's Inciarte. He's 1 for 3. Kimbrel trying to save it for Santana. 2-1 Atlanta. If he does, it'll be the 14th one-run victory for the Braves this year. What does that tell you? That you have a terrific bullpen, an outstanding closer. That's high, ball 2. The Marlins lost. Washington's winning in the bottom of the 9th. Braves lead the division by a game. Two balls and a strike.
Took a little off, a little get over fastball there at 94. This guy has no power to speak of. Relies on just putting the ball in play and using his wheels.
At times, Craig's fastball command has eluded him. A power man on deck, Aaron Hill. He would bat for Ziegler. Ball 4. Hill will have a chance to turn the game around. Tying runs aboard for Arizona. Nice job by Ziegler in relief, an inning and a third of perfect relief, including a strikeout. What scares you about Hill is his power.
He's a good fastball hitter.
Only 2 men have hit more homers as a second baseman in the big leagues than Aaron Hill since 2009. Runner goes. The pitch, a ball. The throw to second is high. It's a stolen base. That takes away the force. And the double play chance.
I said it about a week or 10 days ago. It was a case where there was just a bad walk. It eventually came back to really haunt the Braves. That was a bad walk by Craig Kimbrel. Only because, as I said, that guy has, Inciarte has no power to speak of, but he can beat you with his wheels.
Arizona is hitless tonight with runners at second and third base. The 0-1 pitch. And Hill back to the screen foul. It's 0-2. Hill's had a long career, most of the time a starter. But called upon in a pinch by Kirk Gibson here. No balls, 2 strikes.
PNC pitching tracks here. Low on the slider. Not a bad pitch, 0-2.
That's swept off the plate. And Hill checked his swing. It's 2-2. A one-out walk and a stolen base has Inciarte at second base in a one-run game.
Chase ball 3. Most definitely.
Owings lined out on the first pitch. Inciarte walked. Now Hill a 2-2 count. Line fair and into the right field corner. Inciarte is going to score. Hill on his way to second with a game-tying pinch hit double.
Walked a guy, came into the game hitting 182, stole second, and then a double.
So now Kimbrel's got to keep this thing tied and hope for a 10th inning. First hit of the night for Arizona with a runner in scoring position makes it a 2-2 game. And now Didi Gregorius is up. The breaking ball, a strike. Last 24 hours, I think, a perfect encapsulation of the life of a major league closer. The highest of highs, the lowest of lows. Oh, and 2 for Gregorius. And that just missed.
Yes, but the blown save right now did not cost you the game. It cost you the tie. So you've still got to bear down and get out of the inning and leave that guy standing at second base.
Gregorius didn't get a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. So runner at second, 2 outs for Gerardo Parra, who's 0 for 3 and 0 for 6 in the series. He's 0 for 2 in his career against Craig, who drops in the curve for a strike. When we get to the 10th, Addison Reed will be the next Arizona pitcher.
Thomas can't corral that one. It's through the legs. And Hill moves to third on a wild pitch. So now you have to really buckle down if Kimbrel overcooks a hard curveball again.
Right through the 5-hole. Another one like that, you can't try and catch it. You got to try and block it. Infield's got to make a play. A lot of pressure on everybody defensively if the ball's put in play.
Parra down to his last strike. Kimbrel about to make his 20th pitch of the inning. The Hill double, the big blow, but the most painful sequence, a walk to the 8th place hitter. One, two. Swing and a miss. And that will send this game to the 10th inning. 2-2 is our score. Game 2 in Phoenix. And extra innings are presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. Lone save for Craig Kimbrel. Now Atlanta takes aim at Addison Reed. He's on to pitch the top of the 10th inning with Simmons, the pitcher spot, and then Jason Heyward.
This guy had a big year last year for the White Sox. Had 40 saves. 15 out of 17 so far for the Diamondbacks, but a high ERA. A lot of strikeouts, not many walks. Fastball is pretty straight, has a slider, throws hard.
So the Braves have to pick themselves up and get after it again. With Andrelton Simmons to lead off. He's got a 2-hit game. Foul at the plate, 0-2. Addison Reed came from the White Sox for infielder Matt Davidson on December 16th last year.
29 saves in 2012, 40 saves last year with the White Sox. That 40 save mark, a record-setting performance. Think of all the great pitchers the White Sox have had. Reed's the youngest pitcher with a 40 save season in their history. Makes you wonder why they traded him to Arizona.
Yeah.
1 ball, 2 strikes for Simmons. Bases clear, 10th inning. And a bouncing ball toward third. Martinez got it. And a strong throw gets Simmons for out number 1. Records in extra innings this year. Arizona is 3-1. The Braves are 4-1. And Ryan Domit grabs a bat. He'll hit for Kimbrel. One ball, no strikes for Domit. Domit has the most pinch hit appearances far and away for the Braves off the bench. 26 at bats. This is his 27th. Next closest, Jordan Schaefer, who's had 15 pinch hit assignments. And a fly ball toward Parra in right. He was playing deeply and had no trouble. Domit's retired for out number 2. As Anthony Favaro is up and throwing in the Braves bullpen. As I mentioned, Jordan Schaefer can't say enough about the job he did last night, huh?
3-hit night.
So now Heyward hits.
Gets an extra chance to extend his hitting streak.
It's on the line here, perhaps. He's at 10 games. As Reed pumps over strike 1.
I think he would happily have forfeited the hitting streak for the game to end.
No balls, 1 strike. High fly ball deep right. Parra back. How about that way to continue a streak? A mammoth home run to right with 2 outs.
Is that one of those straight fastballs? It was. It went a long way. Yep. At the knees. Swung on and belted.
Maybe that's why the White Sox moved him along. A 3-2 Atlanta lead on a Heyward homer. His hit streak lives another day. 7 home runs for Jason. And here's B.J. Upton. 1 ball, no strikes.
Liner to left, and Peralta's going to catch it. A straight fastball went straight away to right. Jason Heyward didn't miss it. A long, majestic home run breaks the tie in the 10th. We'll see if the Braves can hold this one-run lead. Our game now 3-2 Atlanta.
Braves Baseball was presented by Georgia Power and the Home Depot.
Jason Heyward rescues the Braves with 2 outs in the 10th inning. A long solo homer off Addison Reed makes it a 3-2 game. And now Anthony Favaro comes on, and he seeks his second big league save.
Good numbers, 2.66 ERA. His last outing was 4 days ago against Seattle. An inning, a hit, 0 runs, no walks, a strikeout. David Carpenter we have not seen up tonight warming up. He's only pitched once since last Saturday.
So a tough 10th looming for Favaro. 3, 4, 5 hitters for the Diamondbacks. Goldschmidt, Montero, and Martin Prado. Bell tie and down the middle for an even count. Something in the water for closers in the East tonight. Rafael Soriano blew the save in the 9th inning in San Diego. They play on 3-3 in the 10th. Down the right field line, but that's slicing towards the stands. And it's 1-2. Balls, 2 strikes.
Goldschmidt's drives are a lot like those of Evan Gattis. It's like he's got a real heavy bat. Doesn't have to really swing and fall all over himself to try to hit a ball a long way. The ball really jumps.
Montero's on deck, a left-handed bat. And Goldschmidt chased what looked to be ball 4.
And a changeup. How about the maturity of Anthony Favaro pitching at this level and given the responsibility of a save right here? Was not a strike, but he threw a changeup to get the strikeout. Gutsy pitch.
So Montero's the batter. He stranded more folks than the skipper on Gilligan's Island. He left Gregorius at second base in the first. He left him at third in the third. Left the bases loaded in the fifth. Bounced out with Goldschmidt at second base in the eighth inning. Nobody's on for him now with one out.
Sometimes Anthony gets a little wound up in the moment. You can expect his heart rate to go up, breathing to accelerate when he's in this type of situation. You're not in that spot very often, but he's got to collect himself a little bit. He can sometimes get in too big a hurry.
High fly deep left. Upton runs out of room.
Montero atoned for the men left on base. Fastball outer third, pretty much no doubt in his mind.
Randall Delgado gets up in the Arizona pen. Navarro now has to get PRADO. Tie game at 3 now in the 10th. For Martin. Montero hits the homer, but the biggest pitch of the inning right now is the changeup that Goldschmidt missed. One-two. Up the middle, base hit for PRADO. He's the winning run. And he was thinking about taking second, but Upton got to it fast enough to hold him at first with a one-out hit.
It's his third hit of the night. He also lined that shot right to Freeman on his bobblehead night. This was a changeup, stayed in the middle of the plate, and Martin stayed back on it enough to hit it up the middle.
So Bavaro goes 1/3 of an inning with a strikeout, 2 hits, including the game-tying homer by Montero. Deeper into the bullpen we go in the 10th.
tea, mobilizing your world. We continue on in the bottom of the 10th inning. Jason Heyward homered in the top half to put the Braves up 3-2. Miguel Montero homered with 1 out in the bottom of the 10th to tie it. And after a PRADO single, Luis Avilan is on in relief.
Avilan last worked on the 4th against Seattle, a third of an inning, 2 hits, and a run allowed.
That's over the outside corner. Peralta, as we told you, has broken into the big leagues with a bang. He's got a 6-game hit streak to start his major league career. That's tied for most ever as an Arizona Diamondback. And he bounces this one towards second. And the throw to first is in time. Moving to second on the play is PRADO. And Owings will be the hitter with the winning run at second base and 2 outs. That'll be all for Avilan. And the Gonzalez playing matchup here in the 10th inning. He'll call on David Carpenter to try to get Chris Owings, it would appear.
Well, another option would have been just to walk Owings and then have Inciarte, the left-handed hitter, have to face Avilan because the run at first wouldn't have mattered.
Represents the winning run. He stands at second with 2 outs. Chris Owings will be the Arizona hitter. One more game to follow in this series in the desert, and we join you at 3:30 Eastern time for Aaron Harang and Chase Anderson. That is our Chevron starting pitching matchup.
David Carpenter worked 3 times over the course of 5 days against the Red Sox and Miami. The last 2 outings, he only got a third of an inning in 2 of those outings and gave up 7 hits and 4 runs. So he needed some rest. Got 3 days rest. Worked on the 4th of June, an inning, gave up 2 hits there but no runs.
A strike to Chris Owings. No balls and a strike. The count to the shortstop. High fly ball center. Upton on the run. Onto the warning track. Is going to catch it. And that will send this game to inning number 11. Wow. 3-3.
Game to the 11th, tied 3-3. Extra innings presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. A couple of changes for the Diamondbacks. Cody Ross checks in. He'll play left field and bat ninth when this game heads to the home 11th. And former Brave Randall Delgado will pitch, with the 3, 4, 5 hitters coming up for the Braves.
Delgado worked here last night, but just a third of an inning. Straight fastball, slider.
We've seen how the straight fastball works out in this ballpark, haven't we?
And that was a changeup. Good pitch.
One ball, one strike. Two balls, two strikes.
One thing about Randall, I mean, he got ahead in the count, but typically every at bat, when you go up against him, you're going to get one pitch good to hit on a mistake.
Full count pitch for Freddie Freeman. Nobody on or out. And Montero couldn't hang on.
3 changeups in the sequence. First 2 pitches and then that one.
And Freeman walks to start the 11th. Delgado thought it was good enough.
Well, it was interesting to me that Montero went to that spot. He wanted a fastball away, but in that sequence to Freddie, that was one pitch he couldn't hit that spot with his fastball. He kept running off the plate. Or more accurately, just directed off the plate, because his fastball doesn't move that much.
That was the first walk issued by the Arizona staff in the game. And Justin Upton, the batter. And has a mighty cut.
They only issued 1 last night.
Taken low, 1 ball, 1 strike.
You do a little first third action here. A little base hit right center. Freddie goes to third. Gaddis up there, takes care of business.
Right now this is a welterweight match. A lot of counter punching going on. Arizona scored first in the second inning. Braves tied it in the third. Atlanta took a 6th inning lead on a Gaddis double. Blown save by Kimbrel in the 9th.
tied it at 2. Hayward's 10th inning homer made it 3-2. Montero with 1 out in the 10th, homer to tie it at 3. And that's where we stand. 1-2 pitch for Justin is off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Upton protecting the plate, fouls it to the right side.
Trouble locating the fastball. His best pitch has been a changeup this inning.
Wants the fastball in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He got it there, and Upton was all over it.
Again, that arm side corner, that away to Freeman, inside to Justin. That's been an issue for him to hit the spot where he wants it. Got away with that pitch in. Now let's see if Montero goes away. Good job by Justin. 95 hard away. Fought it off.
I like to use the term he's reeling him in. He's seen everything he's got. With every passing pitch, it increases the likelihood that Delgado's the man that makes the mistake.
Well, he's thrown his best Sunday fastball in and away. Off speed. Yeah. Breaking ball.
The 2-2 pitch. And Upton chased one. Delgado struck him out. There's the first out of the Atlanta 11th.
Catcher, Evan Guess.
That never had the plate. But couldn't lay off.
Gaddis had a 4-hit game for the Braves in April. A 4th hit here would be welcome. 2 doubles and a single for the Braves catcher, who's also grounded out to short. And Delgado in at the knees, a strike. He's bringing it to Evan. No balls, 2 strikes.
Evan usually likes high fastballs. He must have thought that one was outside. Try the same pitch that he threw to Justin.
That's exactly where Montero wanted it. After he gave the sign, you might have seen him tap the dirt with his catcher's mitt. way out in front, and an off-speed pitch. Back-to-back swinging strikeouts after a leadoff walk.
Big curveball, 79 miles an hour. Talk about taking something off. That was a heck of a pitch.
Chris Johnson is the hitter. Tommy La Stella stands in the on-deck circle. If the inning continues, La Stella would hit for Carpenter. And David Hale has begun to loosen in the bullpen.
I know Delgado's thrown over to first once, but if Freddie had a mind to, he could get a heck of a jump. Delgado's slow to the plate. Just go.
No sign of it on that pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's David Hale. We're in the 11th. A Hayward solo homer in the top half. A Montero solo homer in the bottom half of the 10th. And how about Delgado? A leadoff walk. He then struck out Upton, Gaddis, and Johnson. Bottom of the 11th inning in Phoenix. Coming up next. Bag in the early innings, then late homers in the 10th inning. One by Jason Heyward to put the Braves up 3-2 off Addison Reed. That extends Hayward's long batting streak to 11 games. That came with 2 outs, but then Bavaro served one up to Montero. He hit one a long way the other way. And now our duel continues into inning number 11.
Braves got some help from the Padres. They beat Washington in 11 innings. I'll say this for the Diamondbacks team. They are a win-starved team at home, and they're playing tonight like it's a playoff game.
Arizona 9-23 at home this year. Tied with the Braves in the 11th. A bunt. It's a beauty. The flip to first, not in time.
Great try by Dan. I didn't think they had any play at all, and he made it close. Freddie wants him to have a look at it.
Heads up play by Inciarte to lay it down. Great glove flip to first.
Ooh, got him.
This one's going to be overturned.
Got him. What a play by Ugly. Goodness.
The replay is initiated with manager challenge by the Atlanta Braves.
I didn't even think Ugly was going to be involved in the play. I thought it was going to be a Freeman or Carpenter play. And look how far Dan had to come to scoop that ball. Got him. This is the best angle right here. In the glove.
The fans are reacting to the replay on the Jumbotron scoreboard. And you're right, two great angles by our Fox Sports crew here in Phoenix. This one, I would think, would be pretty easy to overturn. And the ruling is there has to be clear and convincing evidence to overturn the call. The replay we showed where we saw the face of Freddie Freeman showed that Inciarte was out by a half a stride. There's the final verdict. He was out. Overturned. Great play by Ugla on a bunt try. One out.
That's as good as you want to see on that play, especially when it was only about 10 or 12 feet from the bag. For him to go that far and make the play, that is just spectacular.
And this is only a guess. In fairness to the umpire, they are trained to listen for the sound of the ball hitting the glove and watch the foot hit the bag. With that glove flip, I'm sure there was very little sound on the transfer. And the human eye, in the case of Fletcher there, couldn't see the ball and glove and foot at the same time. So the call overturned, one out. And here's Cody Ross. Ross checked in an inning ago and takes a strike. This guy's been a good player for a long time, but got hurt last September and isn't quite back to what he once was.
No, just a 185 average, one homer.
He's in his second season with Arizona. The MVP of the National League Championship Series in 2010 with the Giants. A 1-2 count. Just missed outside. It's 2-2.
197 from David.
Sharply hit up the middle by Ross. His injury last year, Joe, is a nasty sounding injury. A dislocated right hip on August the 11th. And there was a fracture in the hip as well. He had to have surgery to fix that.
If I recall, it was a play at first base where he kind of lunged at the bag and hit the bag funny or tripped over the first baseman's leg, something like that. It was awful.
So he's aboard with one out. We go back to the top of the order, and Didi Gregorius. He couldn't handle Kimbrel's heat in the ninth inning. He struck out on a 96, 97 mile-an-hour fastball. Let's see if Carpenter can get him. Ball one.
I don't know how well Cody Ross is running in the aftermath of that injury, but they may put on a hit and run. If he has enough confidence in Didi to put the ball in play.
2 balls, no strikes. Three balls and a strike. Parra on deck. Goldschmidt lurking in the 11th.
Good life on his fastball, just missed inside there.
A strike over the outside corner. Gregorius flipped the bat away. He thought it was outside.
PNC pitch tracks, fastball. Thank you very much.
Runner goes, and Gregorius stays alive. Ross runs again. Another fly ball foul. Didi will see an 8th pitch.
Kimbrel got him with a fastball. Don't want to be too tricky here for fear of moving another winning run into scoring position. He's fought off a couple of fastballs. I don't know that you want to throw him anything else and speed his bat up here with a runner moving.
Another 3-2. Runner goes, and the pitch low. Gregorius waited to make sure, and Carpenter walks the Arizona leadoff man. Winning run at second with 1 out. Now you've got to worry about Parra.
For 4 tonight, 0 for 7 in the series.
It's a strike. At this point, Arizona just can't stand prosperity. They're 1 for 16 with runners in scoring position. Carpenter's got a big mess now. 2 on, 1 out.
Well, that one hit was a big one in the 9th inning.
You bet. A double by Aaron Hill down the right field line off Kimbrel after a 1-out walk. Missed inside, even count.
Parra 1 for 2 in his career off of Carpenter. Good pitch. Really good pitch, 96. On the outside corner at the knees. Beauty.
Another one of those would be welcome. Paul's a free swinger. You don't have to throw him a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes, your count. Play.
Today's rest has done wonders for his fastball.
Putting up a good fight.
It's a hanging slider last year that got David when the season ended for the Atlanta Braves in the postseason, but he made a good pitch there with it. Really buried it in on him to try to make sure that he wasn't able to get his bat extended. So one of the things he's been trying to do is eliminate as many hangers as he can. Stay on top of it.
Broken bat, little flare, that's going to drop. Here comes Ross around third. Upton's throw to the plate will be late. And the Arizona Diamondbacks have stunned the Braves in 11. They win it 4-3.